Good afternoon and welcome to Nationwide. I am Ogwa Vivian Onyedibia. The Senate, in the meantime, has adjourned plenary to 25th of September 2018 for its annual recess. Before the adjournment, 15 senators had defected from the APC to the PDP. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has written to the Senate requesting the confirmation of the chairman and members of the board of the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, ICPC.
1G of the Nigerian Constitution as amended, and for the fact of our party, the All Progressives, is hereby majority faction. We hereby inform the Senate that we, the undersigned, send to changing our political affiliation from the All Progressives Congress to the People's Democratic Party. We thank you for your exemplary leadership, as always. Yours sincerely.
We have our internal challenges, and as a political party, we all know how so much efforts by so many stakeholders to address the issues that bedevil this party. Mr. President, the disagreements do not translate into factionalization. I also believe that because the issues are under serious discussion by the major stakeholders of this party and leaders and elders of this party, I will urge, Mr. President, that announcement be quarantined.
And the House leader Femi Gbajabiamila says APC remains the majority despite defection of some members to opposition parties. Addressing newsmen on the sideline of Tuesday's plenary, the House leader questioned the legality of the defection, which he says is against Section 68 of the 1999 Constitution. Earlier during plenary, Speaker Yakubu Dogara announced the communication of some 36 members of APC who have defected to opposition parties, while one APC member announced resignation from the party. Details will be given in our subsequent bulletin. Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress, APC, has noted the defection of some National Assembly members from the party. A statement by the National Publicity Secretary of APC, Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, says the party leaders have worked to stave off the situation as a responsible party in the last couple of weeks, but the individuals involved may have different considerations beyond their grievances that APC leaders are willing to address. He, however, emphasized the right of every citizen to political association, which APC respects, urging members to remain calm as the party continues to work hard towards the next general elections. And in furtherance to his strategic engagement and wide consultations with critical stakeholders of the governing APC ahead of the 2019 elections, President Muhammadu Buhari on Monday evening held talks with former Kano State Governor Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo quotes Senator Kwankwaso describing his audience with the Nigerian leader as fruitful.
Accompanied by Governor Badaru Abubakar of Jigawa State, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso is visiting the State House amid speculations on his possible defection from the governing party. Senator Kwankwaso met President Muhammadu Buhari alongside the national chairman of the APC, Adams Oshomole, behind closed doors for over 1 hour. Speaking to NTA News after the meeting, also attended by the governors of Zamfara, Kebbi, Borno and Ogun states, Senator Kwankwaso described it as fruitful.
We thank God that my friends, my former colleagues, governors, of course, came to me and we had some discussions with them. And now we had an opportunity to see President. And we had some useful discussions. That's all.
So you are remaining in the APC?
No, let's wait and see. A lot has to be done, really, to decide on what to do.
Like what?
No, keep on talking. You have to. Politics is a game of, discussion, agreement, disagreement, all sorts of things, and we're still on it.
For the national chairman of the APC, Adams Oshomole, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso remains a critical stakeholder of the governing APC.
I think the issues he had are basically between him and his brother. I can almost call him his twin brother in the sense that the two of them had worked together for about 16 years. What the president has offered to do as a father is to remind the children that there's a family house that they need to, but Kwankwaso knows that he has no problem whatsoever. He has never had any problem whatsoever with Mr. President. So I think it was a good meeting, very good meeting. It's not about trade at all. He's a very prominent member of APC. He has never made a statement suggesting that he's thinking of leaving the APC. He helped him found the APC. He was a governor when he found the APC. He didn't come to APC because he was unemployed. APC didn't make him. He helped to make APC. And for people like Kwankwaso who have honor and integrity and dignity, they can't see themselves returning to a place they consciously left. So I have a lot of respect for him, and Kwankwaso, has a lot of respect for Mr. President, which he has always reaffirmed, whether in private conversation or in public conversation. And I think we just leave it at that. It's well. It's well, nothing to worry about.
Senator Kwankwaso, now representing Kano Central in the National Assembly, was a two-term governor of Kano State as well as an APC presidential aspirant in the last general elections. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And away from that, finding a lasting solution to the Apapa-Oshodi gridlock has continued to generate attention as the Lagos State government is working with stakeholders to tackle the menace. Guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria say though the government's effort is commendable, they urge players in the industry to collaborate with the government in finding a permanent solution to the challenge. Gufan Shaji tells us more.
The guests acknowledged the modest level of sanity restored on the Apapa-Oshodi Lagos Expressway since the directive by government that the issue be addressed immediately.
There is a long-lasting solution to it, but Lagos State government cannot go into such plan without the collaboration of federal government, and that we have been able to have a stakeholders family discussion yesterday with many solutions at sight now.
They said basic laws must be obeyed and enforcement carried out.
The problem we're having is that nobody respects the government policies in the ports. Nothing to be respected about. And I want federal government to put a serious enforcement on this case.
I think what the regulatory agencies need to start doing is to begin to regulate the transport unions and associations first.
They also advised the federal government to decentralize the Lagos port, overhaul the maritime sector, and address some structural deficiencies.
It's not just about enforcement now because it's so overwhelming. It's now a national catastrophe in Lagos. Not just for those in Lagos, but also for us who depend on Lagos. Why do we depend on Lagos? 80% of our shipment in Nigeria comes through Lagos. And that comes down, it addresses the macroeconomic issue. Is that sustainable? Why should 80% of our shipment come through only Lagos port alone? What about Port Harcourt port? What about Warri port? What about Calabar port? And can't we have other ports?
They also want relevant stakeholders to team up and ensure that they comprehensively end the gridlock and offer relief to Lagos residents. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji, NTA News.
And more on the Apapa gridlock as we link up with Elizabeth in the Center of Excellence, Lagos. It's over to you, Elizabeth.
Hello, Ogwa, and thank you for joining us in Lagos. Operational activities of the Joint Security Task Force constituted by the federal government, Lagos State government, and the Nigerian Ports Authority to bring back sanity to the Apapa area of the state has been extended by 30 days. Nosa Ursula reports that this is part of a 10-point communique read by Governor Akinwumi Ambode, represented by the State Commissioner for Transportation, Lade Lawanson, after meeting with critical stakeholders at the Lagos House, Alausa, Ikeja.
The State Commissioner for Transportation stated that sanctions for shipping companies for non-compliance with utilization of holding bays have been extended for 5 days, while trailers not called upon and found parking indiscriminately will be impounded and sanctioned.
The Federal Ministry of Power Works and Housing is going to commence palliative measures immediately on the bad portions of access roads within that axis.
According to him, while the Lagos State government accelerates the completion of the Orile Trailer Park, all truck owners must be duly registered and well regulated by their unions, as the unions will be held liable for non-compliance with extant rules and regulations.
With immediate effect, Lagos State government suspends approval for development of tank farms.
Lawanson added that the Nigerian Ports Authority, in collaboration with the Lagos State government, will license trailer parks, whereby trucks housed in designated parks will be granted access, while tank farms without adequate holding bays within 30 days will be sanctioned. Tagged Operation Restore Sanity on Lagos roads, the federal and state government had set up a task force involving 2,271 personnel drawn from the police, the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Federal Road Safety Corps, and the Nigerian military. The operation also involves relevant unions within the maritime sector. In Lagos, Nosa Ursula, NTA News.
The Lagos State government has reiterated its commitment to providing qualitative entrepreneurship training for students across tertiary institutions in the state through its Ready, Set, Work program. Governor Akinwumi Ambode made the pledge at the Lagos State University in Ojo. Nosa Ursula once again reports.
Who was represented by his special advisor on education, Obafela Bank Olemo, said that the vision of the Ready Set Work is that every graduate from a tertiary institution in Lagos must have the knowledge, skills and attitude required to gain meaningful employment or be self-employed.
For you to graduate, you must be here present, and by being present it means that you must clock in at 9 o'clock. Before 9 o'clock you've clocked in, and also clock out at 5 p.m. And even in between the programs, we have a biometric system that you have to clock in also to ensure that you stay throughout the program.
The special advisor also explained that the program is in line with government's commitment in ensuring that every student that graduates from any tertiary institution in Lagos State is prepared for work as an employer of labor or a value-adding employee.
We've created a portal where the employees, people that employ the employers, go there to track the students and tell us how often they come, that they're doing what they ought to do. So we have students that don't meet the guidelines and we don't pay them their internship payment. So we're tracking them very, very effectively. We also have a very strong alumni program for the Ready Set Work now, and that excites us. And if you look at a lot of facilitators, we have people that were part of this program before and have come to support the program. So that also excites us.
Ready Set Work is a 13-week intensive entrepreneurship and employability training program initiated by the state government. Upon completion, participants are put on paid internship in partner companies, while those whose business ideas are deemed best are given seed funds. In Lagos, Nosa Ursula, NTA News.
National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, has begun investigation into the alleged trafficking of some Nigerian minors to Russia under the guise of attending the 2018 FIFA World Cup. Director General of NAPTIP, Dame Julie Okadonli, made this known during an interactive session with some newsmen in Lagos. Paul Omokago reports.
230 Nigerians, including minors, were recently brought back on the directive of the federal government from Russia, where they were stranded after the 2018 FIFA World Cup. Director General of NAPTIP, Dame Julie Okadoli, said those behind the embarrassing act will be arrested and prosecuted.
If the travel agents gave them one-way tickets, the question is, what was the idea behind giving them one-way tickets? That means that they were never meant to have come back to Nigeria. Secondly, the question is, who bought the tickets for them?
NAPTIP Director General said 359 persons have been prosecuted for trafficking, out of which 43 have been convicted. She says emphasis would be on increasing awareness on the ills of trafficking during the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons slated for Monday next week.
We have cases where some other law enforcement agencies want to prosecute cases of human trafficking when they clearly know they don't even have the mandate to do so.
NAPTIP is collaborating with relevant security agencies and sister organizations in tracking perpetrators of trafficking in persons. In Lagos, Paulo Mukago, NTA News.
And those are stories from Lagos at this hour. Over now to Ogwa in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Elizabeth. The Senate President, Bukola Saraki, is still being awaited at the Intelligence Response Unit of the Nigerian Police Force, Gusape, Asokoro Extension, to report for further clarification on the allegation leveled against him on the Alpha Bank robbery attack. As at 8 o'clock in the morning, adequate security personnel were mounted by officers and men of the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad in anticipation of the arrival of the Senate President, but to no avail. Meanwhile, there was no response as to what next by the Nigerian Police Force as at the time of filing this report. And moving on, achieving risk protection for health towards universal health coverage in Nigeria could only be realized through proper management of information technology in the coordination of the country's national health insurance scheme. Well, it is a resolution of the Senate Committee on Health during a retreat on the National Health Insurance Commission bill in Abuja. Abdullahi Aminu reports.
The bill seeks the establishment of a commission that will regulate various health insurance systems by state governments. Discussions at the retreat centered on the need to ensure globally accepted health insurance system in the country through a coordinated information technology mechanism.
That your state health insurance scheme should come with an ICT package that will fit in to the national one.
Committee chairman said the review process of the laws establishing the scheme is to ensure management of 1% of the consolidated revenue fund allocated for the scheme in the 2018 budget.
We cannot be backwards in Nigeria when the whole world is moving forward, and making sure ICT is a major feature in the administration. Today, for example, if you want to know how many people have malaria in Nigeria, we always rely on the international bodies like WHO to tell us how many people have malaria in Nigeria. This is because we don't have ICT in all our institutions.
The resolutions of the retreat will be presented on the floor of the Senate for consideration and passage by the House of All. In Abuja, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
Various groups have called upon the National Assembly to speedily harmonize the Federal Audit Service Commission Bill 2018 and pass it on to the President for assent. This, they say, would build on the gains recorded by the present administration in the fight against corruption. Dennis Adegunloye reports.
The existing Audit Ordinance Act of 1956 and the Public Accounts Committee Act of 2004 are considered by the National Assembly to be inadequate to address present-day realities. The Federal Audit Service Commission Bill 2018, the groups say, will, among other things, plug all loopholes and leakages currently existing in the system.
I want to use this video to appreciate what the National Assembly has done so far in passing the bill. The truth is, it is even better to prevent corruption from happening than fighting. It's easier to do that. It's more cost-effective to do that.
I am very confident that Mr. President will sign this bill when it comes to his table, because we've seen over time that he has committed to the open government partnership. And for us to achieve the vision around the open government partnership, we must ensure that we have open audits in place. And this Service Commission Bill 2018 will put in place that mechanism.
They urge the legislators not to overlook what they describe as a critical bill in sustaining momentum in the anti-corruption agenda of the federal government. With less than a year till the expiration of the 8th National Assembly, they call for immediate transmission of the bill to the President for assent, without which the whole process would have to commence again with the 9th National Assembly. Dennis at Digunloye, NTA News.
This is Nationwide on the NTA. More reports after this break.
Hate speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
Under no conditions whatsoever should we tolerate or excuse or justify hate speech or hateful conduct of any kind, especially where such is illegal.
There's no doubt that the resurgent push for separatism, as well as the rising cases of ethnic and religious disharmony, are all traceable to the growing phenomenon of hate speech.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
The negative impact of fake news to unity, national development and growth is a thrust of NTA Tuesday Live this week. NTA Tuesday Live promises to be incisive and informative. Don't miss it.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for political gains, real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
Much ado about jollof rice, you may say, but is the ado really about food?
I think this debate is way beyond food.
Nigerians marry Ghanaians and we have them as bosom friends and vice versa. So, what is food to put asunder this great neighborly tie between the proximate English-speaking countries?
Flash. She will go back to her flower and you will come back crawling to me like a puppy beaten by a rain and your tail in between your legs.
Professor John Bull investigates. Join us in this week's episode titled Nigeria Jollof and Ghana Jollof and find out the real taste of the dish and who cooks it better.
It is India that win because a jollof rice is very good. So Nigerian jollof rice win.
How were you able to distinguish between these two plates, which was Ghanaian jollof rice and Nigerian jollof rice? Over and out.
Brought to you by Glow,
the largest data network. Glow Unlimited.
Thank you for staying tuned. The Nigerian Monetary Policy Committee has retained monetary policy rate at 14%, as well as retained other monetary policy parameters of the economy. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria said this after the third MPC meeting, where 7 out of the 10 members in attendance voted. The ratio were maintained after the committee reviewed the domestic macroeconomic events, including the implementation of the fiscal, monetary and exchange rate policy. And to Ekiti State now, where election monitors one of the 58 Election observer groups accredited monitors of July 14, 2018 governorship election in Ekiti State has commended the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, for the high level of professionalism displayed at the polls. Speaking at post-election analysis conference, National Coordinator Abiodun Ajibola, however, wants the electoral body to evolve measures that will address inadequate voter education and election malpractices to ensure the successes of 2019 elections. Kunle Adeye tells us more.
The July 14, 2018 governorship election has come and gone. Observers now take stocks of the conduct of the election and its successes with some advice for a more improved successive elections in the future. The election monitor and observer convened this conference in Abuja as a post-mortem of Ekiti election with a view to appraising INEC and other stakeholders in the conduct of the election. Although they appreciate the general conduct of the election and its successes, they, however, urge the electoral body and stakeholders to find appropriate avenue periodically to keep people abreast of all rules and regulations guiding conduct of elections in the country.
The processes were very good. As we said, the process of the election was good. It was well organized. INEC did a very good job. There was good voter turnout. It was relatively peaceful, so it was okay. It was a good election. But as we said, if we notice something that isn't so good, like the verdict votes, we feel that, okay, let's find out what it is.
Head of Legal Services of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Grace Agbamuche Mbu, remarks that the Commission has improved over time in the conduct of elections and appreciates Election Monitor for the constructive observations to better the system.
And what the Commission has decided to do is to work collectively with stakeholders, that's the security, the judiciary, and as many stakeholders as we can get. INEC cannot do the work all by itself.
The group monitored the exercise in 129 polling units in 14 out of the 16 local council areas of Ekiti State. In Abuja, Kunle Adeyeye, NTA News.
Leadership of the All Progressives Congress, APC, says it will uphold the rule of law in order to strengthen internal democracy in the party. Deputy National Chairman North, Lawal Shuaibu, made the declaration at the distribution of empowerment materials to members of the party in Bauchi. Mahmoud Ibn Muhammad reports.
Initiated by the government of Bauchi State, the empowerment program targets women, youths, and less privileged members of the All Progressive Congress in the state. Aimed at making the beneficiaries self-reliant, the Deputy National Chairman North of the party, Lawal Shuaibu, says the poverty alleviation program is in line with the constitution of the APC.
Mobilization, empowerment. We mobilize people and empower them. And the governor of Bauchi has been able to achieve that, and he invited us. To tell you, this is the first time we are coming out, apart from elections. Nothing took out of Abuja since after the last convention. This is the first official outing by the National Working Committee, because it touches on what the party assigns to us, to mobilize people, sensitize them, and empower them.
On his part, Governor Muhammad Abubakar noted that his government is working towards consolidating on the developmental strides of President Muhammadu Buhari, which, according to him, has brought Nigeria back to its position of eminence. In Bauchi, Mahmoud Ibn Muhammad, NTA News.
And meeting of National Council on Power opens in Benin. Let's get details of that and other reports from Ogochukuka in our Benin Network Center. We seem to have lost contact with Benin. We'll move on now till we establish contact. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Abayomi Olonishakin, has approved the appointment of Major General Augustine Chukwudi Agundu as the Commander Operation Safe Haven. He is to take over from Major General Anthony Afolagbe, who has been redeployed to Defense Headquarters and appointed as Director of Campaign Planning. A statement by the Acting Director Defense Information says the postings take immediate effect. And the Nigerian police force has restated its commitment to reform its special anti-robbery squad unit for improved security in the country. Inspector General of Police Ibrahim Idris, represented by Assistant Commissioner of Police Fidelis Okafo, made this known at a seminar organized by the Bureau of Public Service Reforms in collaboration with the Nigerian Policing Program. The seminar focused on effective response of the Nigerian police force to curb crimes in Nigeria, noting that the unit is specially set up to counter violent crime, cultism, armed robbery, and kidnapping.
A standard operational procedure was designed by the CP. Well, the whole idea of this SOP, or we call it SOP, that's standard operational procedure. The whole idea is to establish a friendly federal SARS, which will meet the aspiration and yearning of the citizenry. Under this SOP, measures were being taken to make federal SARS more accountable.
And it is our own small way of contributing to an efficient Nigerian police, and is our own small way of contributing to the national, to the general reforms that are happening or taking place within the Nigerian police force.
Police is here to serve us, and we are also interested in having a police force that is effective and is democratic, which also includes their own rights also, because you heard some of the discussants say that what we are experiencing from the police is also as a result of their own rights being abused. They're also victims of the system.
Discussants stressed the need for the squad to be more accountable and reliable by constant training on their role in society, in line with the rule of law and international best practice in policing. And the Industrial Training Fund, ITF, has trained and graduated 200 Nigerian Air Force personnel in different skills and trade. Director General, ITF, Joseph Ari, in a message at the graduation in Abuja, reiterated the agency's resolve to building and developing Nigeria's manpower and human resources to enhance national development. Abdullahi Ajia tells us more.
The Industrial Training Fund, ITF, has over the years continued to contribute to the pool of Nigeria's skilled manpower that develops and sharpens their skills in different fields of human endeavors. The latest beneficiaries of this statutory commitment is 200 personnel of the Nigerian Air Force who were trained in 2 batches in the areas of plumbing and pipe fittings, electrical installations, computer-aided designs, masonry, welding and refrigerators repair.
We improve ourselves, that we make the Nigerian Air Force proud in any way we are going.
Representative of the Director General ITF, Mrs. Adeshola Taiwo, and the training manager, Shodunke Olainka Ayodele, maintained that the program, which has drawn participants from NAF formations, will no doubt have a multiplier effect on the service and the society.
Whether workers in the public or private sector organizations, we train and we retrain. Today's event marks a watershed in our effort at the ITF to skill and reskill our armed forces for efficient management of our security stations countrywide.
Director of Works, Nigerian Air Force, Group Captain Abiodu Oyekunle, who stood in for the Chief of Air Staff, commended the ITF and the initiative targeted at improving the capacity of its personnel.
Aside building capacity, using all personnel to execute projects will save the Nigerian Air Force a lot of money.
The graduates were presented with starter packs and certificate of competence. The training program was adjudged to be one of the best by observers in their goodwill messages. In Abuja, Abdullahi Ajia, NTA News.
I understand Benin is back online. It's over to you, Ogochukwuka.
Thank you for rejoining us, Ogwa. Welcome to Benin. Key players in the power sector are in Benin City for the 4th National Council on Power. Guloke Naini reports that the meeting is focusing on increasing access to electricity through improved power infrastructure,
which is at the instance of the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing, is expected to develop a roadmap that will enhance electricity supply. To achieve this goal, the meeting has been structured into sessions spread across 4 days. Declaring the meeting open, Permanent Secretary Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing, Lewis Idozie, said the aim of the meeting is to take a holistic look on the issues militating against the effective performance of the energy sector and come forth with possible solutions. Speaking on behalf of Edo State Government, Commissioner for Energy and Water Resources, Yekini Idaye, while describing the meeting as timely, said average daily supply of electricity in the state is 8 hours, while less than 20% of an estimated consumer population of 1.2 million have postpaid meters, a situation which has endangered economic activities. An executive session is expected to come up on Thursday this week, where the Minister, Babatunde Fashola, and other key players, including Governor Godwin Obaseki, are to issue policy statements and inspect Azura Power Plant. In Benin, Goodluck Inaini, NTA News.
The National Union of Road Transport Workers wants Governor Godwin Obaseki not to be distracted by what it terms enemies of progress. This is the message the Edo State chapter of the union took to the governor at a solidarity visit.
These are members of the National Union of Road Transport Workers Edo State chapter in Government House to express their support to the Obaseki-led administration.
You are building roads, we are seeing it. You are rehabilitating so many and we drivers, we are benefiting from it.
The governor described the activities of the union as significant to the socio-economic development of the state, adding that government will continue to partner with it to advance their course. He expressed the determination of his administration to build more roads and promote socio-economic activities.
You can see the number of roads we are doing.
Yes.
We are not only continuing from where our comrade Oshomole stopped. You know, he did most of the main highways. Those ones he could not complete, we have started to ensure that we complete them. We have even started new ones. I want to reassure you that the government you voted for can never change.
The ban on touting, ticketing, and activities of community development associations in the state is not negotiable, the governor adds.
Anemia is another disease so dreaded that physicians have continued to carry out researches to unveil solutions. Ifeoma Okafor in this report tells us that experts are still saying that prevention is the best option.
Sickle cell disease is said to be the commonest genetic disorder which majority affects the black race. Report has it that majority of individuals have a limited knowledge about the disease. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, 75% of people with sickle cell disease live in sub-Saharan Africa. Nigeria, with the estimated population of 180 million, is said to record about 220,640 newborns of sickle cell disease per year. Edo State, with estimated population of 4.7 million, will have 5,180 sickle cell disease in newborn at mid-year.
2 to 3% of us suffer from sickle cell, while the carrier rate is about 23% in the population.
When you have SS, then you begin to manifest sickle cell disease. But there are other variations like AS.
We need to know what our hemoglobin phenotype is, so that when we are dating or we intend to marry, we must first know what the genotypes of the phenotype or genotype, as the case may be, is.
Some of the issues raised and their recommendations center on the need for government to equip the hospitals and enact policies geared towards reducing the spread of sickle cell disease, which the stakeholders hope will be taken seriously. In Benin, Ifeoma Okafor, NTA News.
We are done from here. Ogwa is back to you for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Ogochukwuka. The Association of Professional Bodies of Nigeria has commended the federal government for the award of 3,050 megawatts Mambila power project. They say the benefits derivable from the project, when completed, will enhance growth and development of the nation's economy. This was during the association's board meeting hosted by the Institute of Nigeria Society of Engineers in Abuja. Justin Bem reports.
Individual associations from different sectors of development have formed this body to relate like professionals as a team and advise the government on health, finance, management and other sectors towards the common goal of national development and growth. The professionals are applauding the federal government over the award of the Mambila Power Project, which they say, when completed as scheduled, will enhance growth and development through creative industry, economic ventures, tourism, and job creation.
APBN strongly recommends that in future, for similar and related projects, government should encourage relevant Nigerian companies partnering in joint ventures with foreign ones because of the large capital outlay, which is a way to grow our system.
In line with this, they have also commended the federal government on the executive order for planning and execution of projects, promotion of Nigerian content in contracts, science, engineering and technology. They want practical resolutions to key issues that will bring about reactivation and reinvigoration of the Ajaokuta Steel Company that will provide many public and private sector benefits to Nigerians and international communities.
NSC strongly holds the opinion that our country's human and material resources will be better managed if more professionals occupy the policy space. Hence, the reason for our interest in politics.
The professionals pledge to constantly apply ethical standard and code of conduct as well as practice and obedience to regulations for the general good of the nation. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
And World Bank to partner Plateau State on livestock production. Ruth Injos has details. It's over to you.
Hello, Ogwa. Good evening and welcome to JOS. The Independent National Electoral Commission says it has so far distributed about 140,000 permanent voters' cards across the 17 local government areas of Plateau State. The resident electoral commissioner, Hussaini Halilupai, who announced this, urged other eligible voters to register before the suspension of registration in August this year. Abdul Wahab Babankanti takes it from here.
So far, from the first quarter of 2017 to April 2018, 335,089 eligible voters have been registered in Plateau State. Out of that number, 177,256 are male, while 157,833 are female. The REC, Hussein Halilupai, said the registration exercise is facing some hitches in the hinterland as a result of farming season, while another challenge witnessed was the recent crisis in some local government areas of the state.
Without the permanent voters card, one would not be able to exercise his franchise because no PVC, no voting.
The electoral chief further said that the collection is just 12.7% as he urged eligible voters to use the remaining days to register before the suspension of registration on the 17th of August 2018.
We are intensifying our sensitization and publicity of the presence and where, people are to go and collect.
Investigation also revealed that 9,159 PVCs for transfer and corrections have been received and distributed across the 17 local government areas for collection. In Jos, Abdul Babankanti, NTA News.
8,092 youth from Plateau State are to be engaged in the NPower Graduates Volunteers Badge 2 from 1st of August 2018. Plateau State Focal Person Social Investment Program, Dr. Sumaya Hamza, said the engagement is for a period of 2 years. Asha Zigopep has the details.
All successful candidates will be duly informed on their employment status, which will be uploaded on their NPower portal.
We will tell them designated points where they will collect their letters. And the process of primary assignment, the heads of the PPA will sign the letters. After signing the letters, the beneficiary is expected to upload through their portal. and that is what qualifies them to get their first stipend in August.
Describing the End Power project as one of the cardinal programs of the present administration to empower the youth, urged beneficiaries to be committed to their duties as assigned by their places of primary assignment.
No, this is technology-driven intervention, and I want to draw the attention that it is free. Let no one collect any money from them.
The state focal person gave the assurance that more youths will be engaged in subsequent programs. In Jos, Ashezigo Pep, NTA News.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and the World Bank are appraising Plateau State for a proposed intervention in livestock production. The team was at the Government House to enlighten the governor on the qualifications needed for the fund. Renret Lot completes the story.
The World Bank said they are in the state to assess the need of Plateau State as regards livestock production. The team leader further said meeting the requirements will mean the state partaking of a $200 million counterpart intervention to be shared among qualified states for a period of 6 years.
We want to know whether Plateau State has existing livestock development plan that you are implementing now. What are the challenges the state is facing, and how far they have gone with a view to further help the state for improved service delivery to the people.
The Deputy Governor, Sonicho, then who stood in for the governor, said the partnership is a worthy one, considering that agriculture is the third pillar thrust policy of the government. The program is tagged Livestock Production and Resilience Support Project. In Jos, Renret Lot, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Jos. Ogwa, it's back to you.
Thank you, Ruth. We'll take another breather now. More reports shortly.
2030. As a successor framework for the Millennium Development Goals, the global community rolled out a bigger, deeper, and more encompassing framework called the Sustainable Development Goals, designed to transform our world, lift the poor out of poverty, as well as ensure inclusive and healthy society. On Agenda 2030, we take you on a media trip to the global destination of the future we want. With everyone on board, we focus on the people and their struggle, the civil society and their agitations, the government and her development effort, the global development agenda, its 17 goals and 169 targets. We bring you all the deliberations, insightful conversations, and high-level partnerships on the road to global destination. Agenda 2030, showing on this channel. Agenda 2030, leaving no one behind.
Yeah, Modena. Mode. Do you have amala? Yes. And abula? Yes, sir. Black or white? Yamala. Have I ever eaten white amala here before? Yes, sir. Give me amala and abula. Do you have dodo? Dodo 2 grams. Good. Let me have some dodo. I want you to put the meat in a bowl. Shaki, suku, abodi. I like my edo to be very tender. You have stockfish? Yes, sir. Good. Let's have some stock. And the catfish, my favorite. Don't mind them. You have eggs. I would like 6 boiled eggs. No eggs. Okay, catfish will do. And then rice. Rice and then some salad. Look. Do you have a kuru?
Get the latest news and updates from across Nigeria on NTA Nationwide.
NTA Nationwide, weekdays by 4 p.m. Get it first. Get it fresh.
It's good to know you're still there. Time runs out for rice smugglers in Calabar as Nigerian Navy makes arrests. Vivian in Port Harcourt with details. It's over to you.
Hello and welcome to Port Harcourt. The Nigerian Navy is intensifying efforts at tackling smuggling along the Calabar waterways. The most recent is the arrest of over 4,000 bags of foreign rice by NNS Victory Calabar, allegedly smuggled in from Cameroon. Maureen Leo Ajam has details.
The over 4,000 bags of smuggled rice is equivalent to 6 million naira street market value. 5 suspects were arrested in connection with the crime.
The Nigerian Navy, being a promoter and protector of our national interests, is all out, to ensuring that federal government policies are strictly adhered to, especially the issue of importation of rice.
Men of the Nigeria Customs Service were on ground to take delivery of the seized rice and the suspects for prosecution.
Ignorance in law is not an excuse, and there is an awareness on customs platform educating the masses of the dangers of smuggling of rice into the country.
Similar arrests have been made earlier within the command's maritime domain. In Calabar, Maureen Leo Ajom, NTA News.
The leadership of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in Rivers State has assured a level playing field for all members of the party, whether old or new. State chairman of the party, Ojukai Flagamakri, gave the assurance while receiving defectors from the ruling party in the state into the APC fold in the Oyibo local government area.
Receiving hundreds of defectors from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the All Progressives Congress, APC, the state chairman, Ojukai Flag Amakri, assured that the party is a progressive family poised to take over leadership in the state through its people-oriented policies in the forthcoming 2019 polls. The APC state chairman promised the defectors equal opportunity to pursue their political ambition in the party, while assuring victims of alleged forceful property acquisition by the state government lawful redress when the Progressive Party assumes leadership in the state after the 2019 polls.
I welcome you, our brothers, to our progressive family. I want to ask the chairman of the party, to integrate you into the activities of the party in this local government.
The new entrants into the APC in Oyibo appreciated the love shown them by the leadership of the party with a resolve to promote the vision of the party towards electoral victory in Nigeria and in Rivers State.
We are pledging our unalloyed loyalty. We will work with this party. We will show commitment.
Similar defections into the APC had been recorded in recent past in Rivers State. In Port Harcourt, Onengie Fineface, NTA News.
And that's it from Port Harcourt. It's over to Ogwa for the continuation of Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Vivian. And now for stories trending on the international scene, let's join Uche Ogochukwu.
A warm welcome. Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and Eritrea's President Isaias Afwerki have received a peace medal from the United Arab Emirates. The two leaders have helped in resolving the decades-long border war between both countries and recently restored diplomatic ties among them. The United Arab Emirates is reported to have played an important role in the reconciliation. From Zimbabwe comes a report that President Emerson Mnangagwa's government has intensified efforts to revive road and bridge projects that were abandoned more than 30 years ago. The country's road infrastructure is in dire need of rehabilitation to improve economic growth and meet international standards after years of neglect. On a sad note, at least 60 people have reportedly died in wildfires in Attica region around Athens in Greece. Rescuers found the bodies of 26 adults and children who apparently hugged each other after they died, trapped by the inferno just meters from the sea. Similarly, in Laos, hundreds of people have been declared missing and an unknown number reportedly died after a dam under construction collapsed in southeast Laos. The collapse at the hydroelectric dam sent flash floods through 6 villages, rendering about 700 people homeless. That's the package. Thanks for staying with us. I am Uche Ugochukwu.
And now sports update with Amanzi Marcus.